fuck?
The size of that monster.
Don't like that so much.
These are no monsters.
Please go away.
They are orcas. And people love them. Earth is a planet of water, holding beauty, mystery, and orcas, who, some think, seem to be done with us humans invading their living rooms and have decided to start kicking us out by attacking our boats.
Oh, you fucking hit the boat.
But what's behind this? Are our boats just toys for them to play with? Are we some sort of test prey for orcas? Basically, are we fun or an annoyance? Orcas have an ominous nickname, killer whales. Are we finally getting to see their killer instincts?
We lost both rudders.
It all started in 2020, when international newspapers were quick to publish articles about this still unsolved mystery. Off the coast of Spain and Portugal, orcas were attacking, even sinking boats. By this time, many hundreds have been attacked and 4 completely sunk. Are there more to follow?
Hit by a boat and has taught the pod to attack.
What was allegedly started by a single female orca named White Gladys, and maybe a reaction to a traumatic encounter with fishermen, soon became a phenomenon that spread throughout the area. Sailboats, small catamarans, anything floating on the water with an average size of about 12 meters seemed to be prone to following in the footsteps of the Titanic. Not sunk by icebergs, but by killer whales. But who are those killer whales? Orcas, or killer whales, are the largest member of the Delphinidae family. They usually live in small family groups called matrilines, a group of up to 10 individuals led by a matriarch. While individuals may sometimes stray, be it to mate or to catch prey, they soon reconnect with their group. When they're born, these top predators already weigh hundreds of kilograms, growing up to weigh up to nearly 7,000 kilos and 8 to 10 meters in length, with some differences in males and females and between orca groups around the world. So, when an adult orca decides to attack your boat, you're in trouble. And if they team up, you might be in big trouble, because these giants also boast 10 to 14 pairs of teeth up to 10 centimeters long.
Okay, coming for the rudder. He's going for it. Oh my god.
Accounts of killer whale attacks always speak of orcas circling boats, sometimes for minutes, sometimes for hours, ramming and biting the rudders until they break.
It was like 20 minutes ago, we got hit by some orcas. 3 orcas came at us, straight at us, and they started hitting the rudder.
To numerous observers, it seemed like the orcas were acting in a coordinated fashion. While some attacked the boat, others watched before giving it a go themselves. The result, more often than not, a broken boat. So, are our oceans unsafe now? The thing is, orcas are nearly everywhere. They are the most widely distributed of all cetaceans and can be found in almost every marine environment, from the equator to both polar zones. But all the reported incidents have occurred in one place, off the Iberian Peninsula. The culprits seem to be a group of 30 to 40 individuals, the so-called Orca iberica group. It's just them. No other orca group worldwide has been reported to exhibit such behavior to date.
The coasts of Portugal, Spain, and Morocco.
As a reaction to the attacks, the Spanish and Portuguese authorities first and foremost suggested staying clear of the so-called exclusion zones, areas where orca attacks have been reported, or only accessing them during mid-December and the end of February, when the coast is clear of this orca group's main source of food, tuna. Because when the tuna leave, so do the orcas. Online, web, and social media pages were quick to collect reports of orca sightings, a communal database skippers could check to prepare for orcas in the area. However, this information is fleeting, only a snapshot in time. Orcas are quick, and they don't linger. Generally speaking, no orcas around right now doesn't mean no orcas around in half an hour. The Spanish and Portuguese authorities also developed guidelines on how to react if approached and attacked by an orca. There is different advice on how to proceed. Besides a call for help, they suggest turning off the engine and taking down sails, shutting off the radio, and staying away from the steering wheel. There are even other suggestions floating around: to stay extra quiet and even hide from orcas so the vessel bores them, or to be extra loud by hitting the railings and shouting. Whichever bit of advice was followed, the results were mixed. Sometimes the orcas left the scene, sometimes they didn't seem to care how people reacted. There simply doesn't seem to be a finite guide how to make an orca leave you alone, even though many would wish for it.
Can't say like that so much.
If this behavior only occurs within one specific group, is it possible that it is taught behavior passed on only in this area? We know that orcas pass on knowledge. They pass on different dialects in which groups converse, or learned behavior like catching prey. Catching prey without losses requires finely tuned motor skills to master different foraging techniques. Spinner dolphins, for example, close relatives of killer whales, do this by playing with a strand of sargassum weed. They pass the sargassum weed ball to each other, training themselves to aim and catch precisely. Some orca groups that have a taste for sea lions and seals have learned a very dramatic hunting trick, though failings in its execution could lead to their own stranding and, ultimately, death. They swim as close as possible to basking or bathing seals and grab them unawares. For this maneuver to be successful, the orcas have to learn to sneak up unnoticed, to correctly exploit the thrust of the waves to attempt their trick, and not to go too far when it's time for the final attack, so they won't end up stranded on the beach. So, could one possible explanation for the boat attacks be the passing on of knowledge and skills? It would mean that orcas attacking boats, adults first and youngsters following in their footsteps, might be a safe way of teaching offspring how to hunt effectively. When orcas hunt, it involves a lot of soft skills too. Communication within the group, coordination, then the attack. A prey that's not going to escape too swiftly, like a boat's rudder, could be the perfect training ground for young orcas. And, maybe most important of all, it's a prey that's not going to harm the offspring. As orcas only birth one calf every 5 years, it's important for the survival of the whole species that the youngsters aren't dying off in droves during their first hunting attempts. But one major question remains. What will our shared future look like? The number of boats attacked by killer whales since this fad began in 2020 is now in the hundreds. However, only a handful of vessels have actually been sunk. And while events like these make for big headlines, we shouldn't forget that, realistically, over 90% of all boats that sail between France and Gibraltar won't see any orcas at all. A few will spot or encounter a killer whale, while only about 2 to 3% will run into problems and an actual orca attack. And with only about 30 to 40 individuals in the Orca iberica group left, we humans are a much bigger threat to them than they are to us. In all their research, scientists have agreed on one thing. Orcas and humans are very similar. We hunt, we play, we are curious, we act in social groups, we coordinate, and compete. And as we learn our ways, so do they. Just last summer, an orca attack was reported in the north of Scotland. Is the knowledge spreading from the Orca iberica group to the world? Let's wait and see what hits us this summer. Want to watch more unique wildlife encounters? Check out our playlist and don't forget to subscribe to our channel.